Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Maria. Today we are making two easy DIYs from Dollar Tree, a flower wreath and a family tree. Let's get to it. Okay, so our first craft is the flower wreath. So if you saw my video on Tuesday, you saw that I cut this top heart off the tulle wreath that I made. So I didn't want to let it go to waste, so I'm going to do something with it. So we're going to grab some yarn. We're going to cut these ends off first, and then we're going to wrap the yarn around it, and then we're going to move to the next step. Okay, so after we wrap the whole wreath in the white yarn, I then grab all my flowers and I take out the ones that I'm going to use. And of course, I got these from the dollar store and they had these cute long white one that I thought was really cute. So I grabbed that and then I cut out the ones that I need and then I put them in a bunch together and I tied up in the bottom with some zip tie. I usually use a rubber band, but I felt like the zip tie was a lot better for this one because it actually holds it in place a lot better, especially when I'm putting it on the wreath. I did forget the baby's breath, but then I had to add that on after. Don't know how I missed that. So I was kind of upset because I had already put everything on there and I was like, ugh, can't believe I forgot that. But anyway, once I put that in place, I continued to put everything on there and make sure that it was a little tight. I didn't glue all of the yarn on there, so it was moving a little bit, but that's why I put zip ties on the top on two parts on the flowers. So I do use some hot glue gun, like some hot glue with the glue gun, just to make sure that it's secure on there because I didn't want it to move to the side or anything whenever I was moving the wreath. So while that dries, I pull out my ribbon and I start making the ribbon bow. So I've always had a hard time making these bows, but I ended up watching I've been watching Julie's boutique for a while, and I saw one of her videos on how she makes her bows. So I did the same thing she did, started following the mat. I made this one 10 inches, and then the second one I'm doing 8 inches, and then the third one, which is the last one, is 6 inches. So like I said, I've always seen her, but I've never actually paid attention to the measurements on her bows. But I wanted to make it for this wreath, so that's what I did. So this first wreath, like I said, is 10 inches and it's got 3 loops on each side. The second one has 2 loops and then the last one has 1 loop. So that way it's in order. And of course, they're different sizes, 10 inches, 8 inches, and 6 inches. Everything will be in the description box below in case you decide you want to try to make it, or you can follow her on YouTube. She also has Instagram and she's also on Pinterest. So I did get that from Julie's boutique. So moving forward, after I make the bows and put them all together, I end up tying that to the wreath, and then that will complete this wreath. Okay, so our second one is a family tree. So I saw this branch thing, Dollar Tree, like a few months back, and I didn't grab it before because I didn't have in mind of what to make with it. But then it came to mind. I had the idea of making a family tree, so I went back and I grabbed it, and then I grabbed a crate, and then I grabbed family. They have this usually smaller letters, but this one was a little bit bigger, and I couldn't find the big crate that they normally have. Um, but that branch, it looks like a branch to me. I don't know. They had different designs compared to the last time. They had only that one. This time they had different designs, and I thought it was cute. But I used my antique wax by Waverly, and I painted the crate, and I used a wet rag. And then I did the same thing with this. We're gonna call it a branch or a tree. And then I use Monet's Garden, I think it's called, by DIY Paints, and I painted like the ends of that because I wanted to have like the green to make it look like the leaves and stuff like that. So I painted that in green, and then I have these decorative rocks that I've used before. I was measuring it on there, and I was gonna leave the crate in brown, like that color, that wax color, but I didn't want to leave the family name that color. I wanted to paint it a different color. So I ended up grabbing the rocks, put it in a Ziploc bag, and I threw the green paint in there. And I painted that in green, and I let it sit for a little bit. And then I started to paint this, and I changed my mind. Like I said, I was gonna leave it brown. Changed my mind, and I started to add the sheepskin by FolkArt. And I said, you know what? Let me give it that crackle effect on it. So I grabbed some Mod Podge, and then while it's still wet, I added that sheepskin color on top. And after I was done doing the other three sides, I use my heat gun, and then you will see how it starts to crack. I do sand it down a little bit after it dries, and then I move on to moving the rocks to a paper towel because I needed them to dry completely before I can put them inside the crates. But you see me here, I'm removing them from the bag. I put them on the paper towel, and then I paint my name in black because I wanted to have a little color, but I felt like if I painted this black, having the brown background, it just wasn't gonna look right. Well, that's just my opinion. Maybe somebody else would like it better. I don't know. I didn't want to have dark with the dark. So that's why I painted this black, and I changed the color on the crate. So once that was done, the box weren't drying completely. So I do use the heat gun to dry them up a little bit because they needed to dry. And then the name, I didn't paint the top, so I had to go back and paint that in black because I didn't like how it still had like that brown color on the top of it. So I did paint the name all around. So after that was all done and dry, I grabbed my hot glue gun and I traced out the name, and then I glued that to the front of the crate where I wanted. And then I grabbed some floral foam, and I used the floral foam because it's a lot easier to cut. This one already had some pieces that were already cut, but I had to cut one in half. So I was able to use my scissors and cut it in half, which was a lot easier than to cut the other one. The other one's a bit thicker and it's a little harder, but this one's a lot easier. So it cut a lot faster. So I used the scissors to cut that off, and then I used the hot glue gun to glue them in place. And then I stick my tree on there, and I use the hot glue gun to glue that in place. So I punch the hole in first, and then I use my hot glue gun, and then I add my green rocks. Okay, so Dollar Tree has these wooden hearts that you can decorate, and I am going to put this on the tree. So before I did that, I wanted the color green to pop out a little bit more, as well as the other colors. So I'm using Big Top by DIY Paints just to give it that gloss and give the color a little shine, and let it pop out a little bit more. I did some of it on the rocks, and then I painted the name in the front. And then I move on to adding my hearts. Now I was going to put the names on the hearts, But I did it with my Cricut and it was okay, but the ink is not permanent when I use the pen, so when I put my fingers on it, it kind of like smeared a little bit. So I didn't want to put everybody's name on there yet. So I do plan on putting everybody's name, but I'm probably gonna do it a different way. So if I do, then I'll probably use it with my Cricut, I'm not sure. But it'll be cute to add everybody's name on there because it is a family tree. And then the part in the bottom has our last names. But if you stay to the end of this video, please like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. To the next one. Bye.